Live from Qatar, it's the Dave Palumbo Show. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. That's right. I am here live in Qatar, Doha, Qatar to be exact. Doing a little business out here, and Chris Aceto somewhere to be found. There he is. What's up, Chris?
Here I am. How is your soiree into Doha?
This is Chris's neck of the woods, actually, that he's usually in, but I'm here. You actually were here with Kamal El Garni a few years ago, weren't you?
That's the last time I was there. I was there 2020, right before we got back, maybe 10 days before the pandemic hit. Otherwise, I probably would have stayed 4 years in a hotel like yours, eating off the buffet with 800 items.
Chris, I've been eating this buffet here, every day. And when you hear buffet, like when I checked in, our mutual friend who brought me here, he got me the meal plan here. And you hear buffet, you think, it's going to be like, eggs and toast or something like that for breakfast. And dinner will be like, some chicken fingers or something like that. This buffet, the only thing I could even compare it to was when I went to India in 2012. And I was in that very fancy hotel in New Delhi. And, they had a midnight buffet. They had every Indian food you can imagine. This is better because not only they have Indian food, they have on Saturday night when I got in, because I got off the plane and I left Friday night, and I got there Saturday night. So I lost the whole day. I get in and they have dinner. Thank God, because I was starving. And they had sushi. It was sushi night. It was like Japanese night. So they had sushi, they had Japanese food, they had Indian food, they had Greek food. And when I'm telling you, when I say Greek, I'm talking about like pristine, dishes that you would get in Greece. It's authentic. It's not like American Greek food, or American Indian food. It's Indian food, like made probably by Indians there. And unbelievable. I didn't know what to eat first. I've been farting my brains out like crazy because I've been eating all these bean and spicy dishes that, normally I would never eat at home because they're not available. I'm eating all these curry dishes, and I love Greek food too. Tabbouleh and all these other crazy hummus and everything derived from beans. So I'm, like I said, I'm a little gassy, but my stomach is so happy. I'm eating tastes of food that I haven't had in maybe ever. The food is delicious here.
The buffets are. They are undescribable, which means, Dave, I hope you did a video of them because
I did.
I'm sure you did.
I took a little video footage. Yeah, I'll show it. I probably should have taken more video when I was here, but
you're going to miss something. And then you tell me, was it not the best sushi that you've had?
It's unbelievable how the quality of the food, how good it is. And I don't know if it's just a factor of the fact that I'm in a really fancy hotel, but I hear all of Dubai has all of Qatar has really good food.
How about the chicken? Just chicken is tastes like it came right from any chicken you have, whether it be at that hotel or anywhere, tastes like it came right from someone's farm.
It's funny you say that because a lot of times when I go to other countries, like Spain, or even when I went to the Asian countries, the chicken is not good. It's like fatty. It's like this chicken is bet. I'm telling you, the food in here is better than the food in the United States. And I have a hard time saying that because I'm always one of these guys that you can't get any better food than where we live. Everything is pristine here, perfect, well done, tasteful. The hotel has got an Olympic-sized pool, Chris, which I've yet to jump into yet, but because I haven't had any time. But it's literally you can hold the Olympics there in the hotel pool.
Did you find
the weight room?
Did you find any public trash cans overflowing or any litter in the streets, Dave?
I was looking. I did not find a shred of paper on the floor anywhere. Anywhere in the streets. Anywhere.
Any homeless people around?
Zero.
I'm just trying to talk up the country.
There's a couple of stray cats that are
they're probably well taken care of too by like neighbors.
They are. They're not in the streets. They're in the restaurants. When you go in the outdoor cafes, there's always like a cat or two, like meandering around there. Probably they probably feed them, I'm sure.
Dave, my friend told me when he got married and he moved into an apartment there, his neighbors cooked 365 consecutive days for dinner for him and his wife.
Yeah, people are very nice here. What's funny is that I've been to Dubai a couple times, obviously, and Dubai is nice, because it's kind of like Disneyland almost, But Qatar is like it's pristine. It's pretty. It's very tasteful. Everything is done, and it's not over flamboyantly over the top. They don't have like the tallest building in the world, but the buildings are like they have like crazy designs, and the architecture is incredible here and very artistic. You could tell it's well laid out. You could tell the city wasn't haphazardly built like a New York City would be. It's designed. It has a design to it.
There's still enough.
It flows. Great. I would recommend it if people like wanted to go someplace to visit unique, and they don't want to go to Dubai. Go to Qatar. I'm telling you, it's incredible. And I haven't even seen everything, And you know what? I went to the souk marketplace there. It's very famous. Let me see if I have it. I think I have it put up a picture on my Instagram. And I like going there because there's bargaining. You have to bargain. If you can't bargain, you shouldn't buy anything in Dubai. Because in Qatar,
geography, right, Dave? You're in the wrong country still.
So this was this is my new friend. It's funny. He kept looking at me, and he got me in there to buy something from him. And then he's like, "You look very familiar to me." And I showed him a picture when I competed. He goes, "I knew it. I watched your RX Muscle." You believe it? Oh my God. The Souk Waqif, it's called. It's a very famous marketplace that was run down and had burnt down a few years ago, and they rebuilt it. And I went to buy the kids some souvenirs there, and this was the guy who I bought from. But I could have spent the whole day there. It's very hot, and they're like, "Are you having trouble with the heat?" Everyone keeps asking me. I said, it's the same temperature as Florida. I said, Florida is just as warm. I said, I'm fine with the heat. It wasn't really that bad. I got news for you. Vegas was worse at the Olympia than Qatar was. And it's beautiful. And, I didn't even get a chance to go to see the waterways. The water is gorgeous there, too. They have artificial islands they built there with all kinds of touristy stuff to do. So I definitely look forward to coming back here at some point. I don't know when, but if we can convince our friend to hold the bodybuilding show here, maybe we'll be back sooner than we think.
Well, they had the World Cup. They kind of did a decent job there.
They got these stadiums that are unbelievable. Do you know that one of the stadiums they built for the World Cup actually comes apart?
Yeah.
They can disassemble it.
Right? They shipped it they gave it away.
Yeah, you're right. They did. How smart was that? Because you remember when Brazil built all those stadiums for the Olympics?
Yeah. They're
all empty now, and they're still standing there. So the Qataris were smart. They're like, we're not going to be able to have to use all these stadiums. Let's make them so that we can take them apart if we have to, and we can give them someone else. and save the space.
Yeah,
It's really kind of brilliant.
They gave them to. I think it was. It might have been someone hold. I think they gave it away to a country in Africa for a soccer stadium, I believe.
It's brilliant. It's a brilliant idea. It really is. I mean, it's
that souk, Dave, used to have this guy who would. He was Qatar's first bodybuilder, and he had old pictures up. He was really old. When I was there in 2020, he was still there. Because
really?
Me and Kamal walked down the souk, and
you had a stand.
There was this guy. He was like 85 or 80 years old and still in decent shape, and he had pictures hanging up.
That's awesome.
He was the first one.
If anyone wants to know what the souk is like, think of. And I forgot the videotape. I should have. Think of the movie Aladdin. If you've ever seen Aladdin, when they're walking down these narrow little alleyways in marketplace, and then they're running through the market. That's what it looks like. It's exactly mirrored after that. It's very narrow little shops, and you can go in there, and and you can bargain. I'm telling you, I saved who knows if I saved a fortune? All I know is I got the price down very low. Like,
well, they see you
something listed.
You feel good, Dave. When you're American, they start with the highest price and they make you feel good, and you say, "I'll give you half."
Right. That's exactly.
You get down to the price it would have been anyway.
Yeah. So if it's like $250, they'll say, "I give it to you for $125." And then I say, "I'll give it to you for $75." And then they're like, "No, 100." I said 75, or I'm leaving. 75. Okay, 75. So. It's still probably higher than they would have. I probably could have gotten them lower, but at least I felt like I got a good deal, And I bought. I try to buy all like trinkets for the kids that were like Qatar, like specific, like little camels and shit like that. So it was cute. They did some nice stuff there, and they'll engrave everything and they'll write it in Arabic as well as in English if you want.
And you didn't give you a tour of any gyms.
No, I didn't. This is not enough time. If I would have been here another day or two, it would have been perfect.
If people knew you were coming, they would have contacted you to bring you to their gym. And then you would get to see the gym.
I got news for you. I'm going to go train after we record this because there's an incredible gym in the hotel here. All Life Fitness. They have every piece of Life Fitness equipment in this gym in the hotel.
Yeah,
pristine, unbelievable. I did get a massage earlier today. Because we're 7 hours ahead of you. It was the best massage I've ever had in my life. I've had a lot of massages.
I thought you were going to say it was a 7-hour massage.
No, it was an hour massage, but best was this heavy set Asian woman, and she was strong as I couldn't believe how strong she was. She massaged my face, my head. It was like the endorphins running through my body were like incredible.
It's going to be a piece of cake for you to fly back between the good food, the massage, the rest.
Yeah, if I don't fart and clear out the airplane, from all the beans I've been eating. So I leave early in the morning. It's funny, you leave when you go back. I leave Monday morning, but I get back like Monday afternoon. It's like you get back the whole day again.
What airline did you fly?
Qatar Air, which is amazing, by the way. Yeah. Direct from Miami.
It's amazing. Yeah. How long is the total flight?
About 14 hours, 13 and a half, 14 hours.
How was the food on the plane?
I hate to keep gushing about how good everything was. It wasn't huge portions, but it was absolutely delicious. And I can't even complain. I love the food. I ate every drop of everything they served me except the dessert.
Dave, I once flew business class to Saudi.
Oh, and that must have been amazing.
Oh my goodness, this is a true story.
Yeah.
That I must have eaten for 2 hours, and we had not even taken off yet because there was a delay. And in my mind, I thought we were in the air because it was so between the luxury and the quality of the food on the plane. It was insane. And they fed you all the way. I think it was a 14-hour flight. Yeah, it was to Jeddah, and it was a 14-hour flight, and it felt like it was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure with all the service you had.
Size of the seat, and they have like one person waiting on like every 5 people flying business class, and the food and the presentation of the food was like going to the Four Seasons in Miami.
You know, I've seen, you know, Lee Priest went on that crazy one of those Emirates, like where he was in his own little bubble he had. You know, you have your own room almost. I think the upstairs of the Qatar Air also was the first class, and then downstairs they had the business class. And the business class seats are like you have your own little cubicle. So as I'm walking on the plane, I figured let me break some balls. So I said, "There's this woman. Looks like she's 100. You know, probably. You know, probably not. She's probably like 70." I said to her, I said, "Ma'am, I said, you want to trade seats with me?" So the husband's sitting right next to her. He's like, "Go, get her out of here. Sit down. We'll talk the whole flight." I said, "Ma'am, here's my seat's over there." She was getting a little nervous. Like she thought the husband was serious. He's like, where are you? Where are you sending me? She's like, she couldn't get the fact we were joking around, the two of us.
Yeah, you could have interviewed him the whole way.
I think George was right next in the. I think Farrah was in the.
I heard he's a pilot, but go ahead.
He was the cubicle next to hers. Diamonds, Chris. I fly diamonds.
Yes.
Yeah. So the plane. I'm fine. I like long flights. You know what? It forces me not to be able to use my phone. It's like meditative time, and I take like a Xanax and I go to sleep. And I didn't sleep as long as I thought I would. I slept a good 7 hours, but I didn't. I watched the movie first, and then you know it was a kid who was screaming the whole time, so I had earplugs in, and they give you the face mask to wear, and but it wasn't too bad. I think on the way back it'll be fine too. It's the key is you got to get yourself completely relaxed and in a comfortable position. I bought the extra leg room so that I have a little bit of extra leg room, and it makes a difference. What I was surprised was the key is when you get on those long flights, don't drink a lot before you get on there. I know you want to stay hydrated, but if you drink too much, you got to get up and pee every couple of hours.
Yeah.
So I purposely didn't drink too much, and I slept a good. I think I don't even remember. I don't even know where the time went. So I must have been in a pretty deep sleep because I think I got a good solid 7 hours on that.
And you've been there how many total days?
I only was here really one day. I mean, I got here Saturday evening because the flight was delayed of 90 minutes, and then I had all day Sunday here, and we're already at the end of the day. It's already almost 9 o'clock here, and I leave tomorrow morning at like 7. I got to get up at 5 in the morning to leave. So it's like I said, if I had known how nice it was here, I would have probably asked to stay an extra day or something like that and gone back Tuesday.
Yeah, you should have stayed the whole week. Imagine the work you could have got done in that hotel room. You would have been like,
oh my God, it would have been great. It's.
My concern is if you stayed in that hotel room with the 3 meals a day, that you'd never come back.
I'm telling you, the buffet, Chris, is the greatest. I'm so in love with it. Breakfast. I'll give you breakfast.
Before we came on the air, Dave said the buffet, and I said, "What did they have? 800 items?" And so I cut your delivery right down in half because you were disappointed because I beat you to it, right? How many did you have?
Chris, there's like 25 stations. Like
Dave,
every station is a different nationality.
Yeah, I think it was like, let's say 2000 and maybe I was there. I don't know, 2007. There was a buffet, and they had it was pickles from around the world.
My God.
They had like 100 different pickles. You can't imagine like the big pickles, little pickles, pickles, sweet pickles in like soy sauce, pickles in like Thai sauce, pickles, and you know what? You'd think like it's no big deal. It's a pickle, and they'd be like little small, and you try and be like, I'm stuffed, and I haven't even got to the chicken section.
Right.
One pickle from around the world on your plate.
The fruit. I'll just talk just the fruit alone. They were like the greatest pieces of fruit. I don't even know if they even grow fruit here. How they have watermelon in season? There's no watermelon anywhere in the world that I know of that's growing watermelon right now. They had watermelon and mangoes and papayas. They were so pristine.
The papaya is like insane.
Unreal. It was like the best of the best.
it's worth going just to eat.
I like I said, I had a plate and I had like this much portion of everything on there because it was like it looked like some kind of a design I made with like an artist design because I had so many different foods because I wanted to taste a little of everything, to figure out what I liked, and then I'd go back and get more of that. So, and they even had a little station, like I guess for kids, like they had pizza, or if it didn't fit in with everything they had, but they know that some kids just don't eat anything, so they had a little kids station too. Very smart. Very, very smart. Well, anyway, I had a good time. I really hope that that our friend maybe considers what we suggested to him, which is to hold a bodybuilding show here, because I think it would be great to have a show in Qatar. I think people would love it. They would roll the red carpet out for them too here, for sure. I heard it was crazy when the World Cup was here. I was talking to the guy. They gave me, by the way, I had a driver who was driving me around for the 2 days I was here. All I had to do was text him and he'd show up. I said, last night, I said, go home to your family. He goes, no, I have no family. I can pick you up whenever you want. You want to go out to 12 midnight? I said, no, go home. I said, go to sleep. See you tomorrow. Everyone works hard here. There's no laziness in this place.
No.
Incredible. All right, let me get these glasses on. A lot going on in the bodybuilding world today. This weekend, I should say. Have you talked to Andrew Jack, your client?
No, he's in North Carolina, though, guest posing.
I know. That's what I was going to say. He looked pretty ginormous from what I hear.
Yeah, he looked great. I saw that video on RX Muscle.
Yeah. Is this just a good rebound for him? I mean, he looks like he put on 20 pounds of muscle since the show.
Well, I mean, the last 2 years has been one continuous rebound, right? He's always getting bigger.
Yeah, I mean, his legs look considerably larger here. That's what I noticed first thing when I looked at this. I said, wow, those legs look huge. I said, that's not, and people are breaking his balls on here.
He looks great.
I think he looks enormous.
He looks enormous and his condition's excellent.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not out of shape by any means.
No.
So looking at him here, this is like a little, off-season preview. Obviously, he's going to be doing the Arnold Classic. When does he start actually?
When he gets back when he gets back to your neck of the woods, Dave. Right now, he's in your real neck of the woods, Florida. But after Florida, he'll go to Dubai, where you are now.
What's he doing in Florida?
I mean, I think this is this is North Carolina. He's guest posing now.
No, I know. You said he was going to.
Yeah,
Florida,
he was in Florida.
Oh, he looks huge. So, I think the Arnold is going to be a really good show this year because I think that, obviously Sampson's going there for the money. I mean, which makes sense. He's the reigning Mr. Olympia. He might as well. And I was having a discussion with, and maybe we could bring this up because this is a good topic with our mutual friend here in Qatar. And he brought up a good point. And you know what? I had no explanation. He said, why is it that more people peak for the Arnold than they do for the Olympia?
Less pressure.
I mean, we've seen the best Ronnie Coleman ever there, probably. We might have seen one of the best Jay Cutlers there. We've seen Brandon Curry, the best Brandon Curry for sure there. We've seen Nick Walker.
Because they have the prejudging at midnight at 1. And the other, they have the prejudging at 1 o'clock.
You think that's the difference?
No, but I just thought I'd bring that
I don't think that's it. I think is it the time of year, the climate? Is it the fact that that's the first show and that people are coming off a little bit of relaxation and then going into that show? I mean, Cedric, that was his show. He owned that show. He couldn't peak for the Olympia. What is it about the Arnold that we seem to see better conditioning at the Arnold from guys? Hottie, killed it at the Arnold.
Well, but if you do the Arnold and you do the Olympia, it's like saying I flew to Qatar, but now I'm going to fly back to Florida, and then I'm coming back to Qatar the next week. In other words,
right? But you can say the reverse too, because you're going from the Olympia to the Arnold, which is right next to each other too. So yeah, it doesn't really follow that logic. You know what I mean? Why is it the guys seem to peak better for the Arnold?
It could or could not be pressure. It could be pressure. I'm thinking the factors are pressure. The factors are the time of prejudging. The factors are remember at the Olympia, you have to do a lot of things as a competitor. You have to go to the press conference. Not everybody. And I believe maybe does the Arnold have any meet and greet?
Yeah, they do. It's not as long though.
No, then I don't know what it is. But you can. I mean, you make a good point that people generally peak for the Arnold better than they do for the Olympia.
Mm-hmm. It just seems it was an interesting thing that he brought up, and I really didn't have an answer for him. I was thinking about it. And I said, you're right. You're right. You're right. We've seen the best of a lot of bodybuilders at the Arnold, but not at the Olympia. I think the best Hadi Chupin we ever saw was last year at the Arnold, or this past year, I should say. The best people say that the best Ronnie Coleman ever was 2002 at the Arnold, right?
2001.
No, it was 02, I thought.
No, 01.
Oh, you're right. And because then he almost lost to Jay, right? Yeah. So 01, that was probably the best Ronnie Coleman we ever saw. And there's been a lot of guys Flex Wheeler, when he won the Arnold the first time, might have been arguably the best he'd ever been. He wasn't that big, but he was. Levrone won 2 Arnolds. He was probably better at those Arnolds than he ever was at the Olympics.
Definitely his all-time best at the Arnolds as opposed to Olympias.
Yeah. Cedric obviously that was his show. He owned that show. I don't know. I just find it interesting. Even Dexter, some of the wins he had at the Arnolds might have been better than his Olympia.
Brandon was phenomenal when he won his first
19.
Arnold.
In his 19 when he won, he was great.
He was probably better. He was better at the Arnold than he was when he won the Olympia. He looked good at the
100%.
He was just at his best, probably his all-time best that year he won the Arnold.
I agree. Wolf looked amazing when he won the Arnold, and he probably shouldn't have beat Roden that year, but he was his best for sure.
He looked his best by far.
He nailed it. It's our friend thinks it's the climate, the time of year. I don't know if I go along with that, but I think it's less pressure maybe at the Arnold, and it's the beginning of the year. It's kind of like you had a little bit of a 2-month break in the whole bodybuilding action. I think people kind of are a little more relaxed. They're excited. There's more enthusiasm.
Those were some of their best looks. Kai battling Phil.
09 Kai.
Opposed to when they both showed up at the Olympia. They looked great at the Olympia, but they were like nuts at the Arnold.
I never was able to bring the goods at the Olympia. It was always like 09. I thought Arnold was probably his best.
Yeah, he looked great at the 09 Arnold.
He was good in 10, but I think he was better in 09.
Yes, he was better in 09.
And what was the year that Phil took second? Was that 10 when he took seconds at Kai?
I think that was 2010, yeah.
He was incredible at that show.
Yeah.
People don't realize. Might have been the best Phil Heath we ever saw.
Might have been the best Phil Heath ever. Because the lines were deep because the muscle was fresh.
Yeah.
The midsection was small. The legs had a lot of separation back then. Phil's legs got bigger. He got continued, but they didn't get necessarily better.
No, I think he's a good example of a guy who looks better, a little smaller. Yeah.
Yeah.
His proportion was freakier, I thought, because his waist.
If he kept that look, his bodybuilding fans. If he had kept the 2010 look all the way through and still won everything, people would say he never changes. Right?
People make fun of Sean Ray because he never changed. But it probably served him better that he didn't get any bigger.
Yeah, it absolutely did, because towards the end, or the end, or 99 when he was 98 when he was out of the top, echelon 99, he was probably, quote, a little bigger, but it didn't help him. No.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. Did you watch? Did you see that rant that Guy Sisternino did? I sent to you.
It was, it was what Guy does best.
Right? Guy went off on Sean Ray.
That's the typical phone call between me and Guy right there. That's hey Guy, what's going on? Go on a rant like that. I'll listen to him for like 30 minutes and say, all right, call you later.
He destroyed Sean Ray because I guess Sean was criticizing Mike Van Wyck, and
I don't even know what went on. And Sean must have opened up his trap, and Guy just hit him with the hammer.
Well, I think Sean was suggesting that he not be allowed in the IFBB or something like that, and guy, guy just really went to town on Sean, really,
Yeah.
really bad.
I got
You
the
want to
one.
watch a good rant? Go to Guy's Instagram.
Right, Guy said I have dirt on everyone. Anyone want to open up their trap?
Yeah.
I've been doing my.
Well, he's right. He's like it's funny how the people that have the most baggage in their closet are the guys that are going on and criticizing other people. You know.
Yep, the most.
It's amazing. He's right though. You can't. I mean, Guy says it like it is. I mean, he's not wrong at all. He's 100% right.
He's 200% right.
It popped up by accident on my feed, and I was watching it.
Me and I watched it, and I said, "Oh,
I didn't know where he was going with it, but it was he was so angry too with it, which makes it even better.
Well, he gets more coherent when he's angry. Most people become less coherent.
Yeah.
When
I do a rant, I'm like funny ranting. Like he's actually literally like fuming, like steam is coming out of his ears, you know, when he's doing that.
Well, Guy, you will love this. Guy is a fountain of facts. So he can organize those facts only when he's angry. And when he gets angry, all those facts come out. But you're right.
He should have been a lawyer.
Yeah, I always tell him that.
He missed his call. He would have been a great lawyer. Right?
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. All right, I want to talk about, I see Samson Dada's chiming in on the whole Chris Bumstead doing the Open in Prague.
No, I didn't really see. What do you have to say?
No, he's excited to see it. I mean, we all are, right?
Yeah.
We're going to see Bum go up against, Martin Fitzwater. Sean Clarita threw his hat into the ring. Of course, MD is going to be in there. A whole bunch of people doing the show. I'm surprised Samson doesn't do it.
Yeah, me too. That's in 2 weeks, right? That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you got Romania first, right, and then
yeah, Prague.
Prague, yeah. So it's going to be a good show. I think it's going to be very exciting because everyone wants to see how Chris Bumstead's going to do in this show. They want to see how the classic physique Olympia champ is going to match up in the Open. Theoretically, this could be his very last show ever. I don't believe it. I think he's going to take a year off and then come back. But he's officially kind of retired, so I'm assuming he's not coming back after this. And I think he wants to hit one more show before he puts, hangs up the posing trunks. And he's doing an Open show. But he did suggest that if he wins the show, that there's a chance that he could do the Olympia, this in 25. I think that was more of a tease just for the fans. It reminded me kind of like a Kai Green tease, And now the Kai Green hears that all this fanfare of all these people teasing shows. I hear now he's suggesting, he told Sid in Dubai when Sid interviewed him 2 weeks ago, that he was seriously contemplating a comeback. And I don't believe it for a minute because he's like the boy who cried wolf, as far as I'm concerned.
Sid told me he's thinking of doing classic.
Kai? That I don't believe. I'll believe that he's getting on stage because I want to believe it, but I know he's not getting on the classic stage. That's for sure. Speaking of classic, have you seen these pictures, these post-Olympia pictures of Mike Sommerfeld?
Yes, I have. Looks great.
He's unbelievable, this guy. I seriously, I don't know how the guy makes weight. I really don't, because, I see guys like Ramon and Bumstead, and they're having to suck down to make this weight class. And this guy looks humongous. How does he make weight, this guy? His bones must be hollow. He's got big freaking legs. Probably get the biggest legs in the division, right?
Yeah. Well, what is the weight cutoff for him? Because it's different for everybody, obviously.
Well, yeah, it's. I think he said, what is he, 5'10" or something like that?
No, I don't think he's 5'10".
I don't know what he is. I don't know what I asked him. I interviewed him recently. I don't even remember. I asked him. I can't remember what he said. It's incredible that this guy can make weight. I mean, with those monster thighs. Incredible. You think he'll win the Olympia next year? Now that Bumstead's out?
I think he's a factor. I don't think he's pursuing by any means.
No, I mean, you got Ramon, you have Urs, you have Wesley Vissers, you still got Breon in the mix. But it'll certainly be a very anticipated Olympia, because with Bumstead gone, it's kind of like when Dorian retired. Everyone's like, well, we all got a chance now,
And the 98 Olympia was a tremendous Olympia because people trained to win that Olympia. Whereas,
even Levrone trained to win it.
Yeah. No, where prior years, it was sort of like a, case closed situation where people knew like Dorian was going to show up as a defending champ and, arguably win with straight firsts or, close to it. So people trained for that 98 Olympia. And if you go back and look at the tapes, you have at his all-time best by a mile, Coleman.
Yeah.
Wheeler was, close to all-time best. I mean, it was a great combo of size and condition,
97%. Yeah, his best.
Cormier at his all-time best.
Nasser was really good for that, too. People forget how good he was.
Nasser was at his all-time best. Levrone was, at his all-time densest, probably.
He was huge. Yeah, you could tell he trained the whole year for that show.
Lee Priest was at his all-time best.
Yeah, you're right.
Sean Ray was not at his all-time best, which was
I believe Dillette looked really good too for that show.
Dillette was at his all-time best, or close to it. I think of all the big names, who are like the top 6 that year, the only one who was not at his all-time best was was Sean Ray.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
But he wasn't, by 98 he started to slip. 96, 7, and that 97, I think.
It was, people forget how good, I always forgot how good Nasser looked at that show, because when Nasser won the Arnold, I thought he wasn't at his best.
No, he wasn't.
Right? Wasn't he a little off? It wasn't quite as hard. He was so good for this Olympia, but Coleman was and Flex were in another like stratosphere above him.
Yeah,
which is sad for Nasser. I think that really hurt him mentally, because he knew that he couldn't be any better than that. I mean, the guy came in, he did everything you could possibly do. The guy was shredded, he was huge, and yet he loses to these two super freaks. I mean, he would have been Mr. Olympia any other year, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was
easily.
Yeah.
Because he came off 97 where he should have beat Dorian, comes back better in 98, and then he gets Coleman coming out of nowhere. I mean, it's no one saw Ronnie coming. It was crazy. So, well, maybe we'll have that next year with Andrew. We'll see. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. They did someone did a virtual pose down with these guys. It's Bumstead, Martin, and Horse MD. I don't know if the scale is right on this, but it's pretty impressive they were able to do that just using the tools on an iPhone. Do you think that is pretty accurate?
No, I don't believe that you can no, because they're not on the same stage.
I know, and I don't know if
the backdrop is different.
Right.
No, it's just it's like saying trying to pick going on vacation and looking at pictures of the Qatar hotel in Manhattan. Hold on.
Is there a scenario though, Chris? I lost you.
Go ahead.
Is there a scenario, Chris, where Bumstead wins this show? In your mind?
Let's see. Because keep in mind, Dave, that he's doing poses that he's not done in the past.
Well, what poses is he hitting that he hasn't done in the past? He's
front lat, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm saying he won his pro card at the North American, so he was a bodybuilder originally.
You have to see him because
his side poses are very, very good. So I mean,
Yes,
this is probably not an accurate, a very good, single pose thing to mock up. But I think that I think there is a scenario where he does win. I don't see him beating Martin, but you never know because Martin could come in a little off.
it's so hard.
And
David, if I thought I could like dissect it, because I've only seen him against other guys in the classic division, and well, he's really good. I mean, does he have the thickness on the back double to like challenge people?
I think his back is going to be where he's going to be weak at that point. That back double is going to hurt him. But then again, who is he beating? He's got to beat Martin. Is going to be the guy to beat. If he can beat Martin, he can beat everyone else. I think if in the right scenario. So let's fantasize for a minute, because I like to make up these scenarios that probably will never exist. But let's say he wins. Okay, he wins the Prague Pro Show in the Open, gets his Olympia invite. What's your prediction as far as, does he do the Olympia next year?
Absolutely, yes.
You think he will?
Guarantee it.
No. Why?
Because he just beat one of the guys who was a headliner at the Olympia.
Up 4. Can he beat like a Samson? Can he beat a Hottie or Derek? No.
He can't beat Samson. No.
I don't think he can do it. I don't think he can take Hottie out, to be honest with you, but you never know. It would be interesting. Now, here's another question. Is he qualified to do the Olympia anyway because he's an Olympia champ, even though it's in another division? That's a question that we don't know.
No, he wouldn't do that either. He would not do that.
You don't think he would just show up at the Olympia because he's on the Olympia? Okay.
It's not. I mean, he's phenomenal bodybuilder, phenomenal accomplishments, but I would imagine that he would think it's the backdoor approach.
Right. I think you're right.
Other people may do it. Other people, you could make all the arguments. Well, Clarita's 212. He wins open shows. He crossed over and all this type of stuff. But you're not. How many times has he won? 6-time classic champion, face of classic bodybuilding. With that comes like this odd responsibility. Not responsibility, but burden. I'm coming into the Olympia. Is that what you said? I'm going into the Olympia because I'm classic Olympia?
No, I was saying, how like if you win the Olympia, you're automatically qualified. You can do it Olympia anytime you want. You don't have to qualify anymore. I didn't know if winning the classic physique Olympia though would enable him to do the Open Olympia without actually having to win a show.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case, but obviously he wouldn't go that route because he's trying to go this route. There's the proof to support my argument. He would never do it because he's whether he wins this show or not, he's going to prove to himself, the classic champion can win open shows. Right. Not the classic champion can slide into the Olympia without having qualified.
So do you think he retired from competing because he had nothing more to prove in classic, and maybe he figures, let's see how I stack up in the Open. If I'm good enough, maybe this gives me something to shoot for. I'm only 29 years old. Yeah, I know I said all this stuff about family and health and stuff like that, but you know what? I'm still in the prime of my life as far as bodybuilding careers go. And I just did qualify for the Olympia. I wonder how much muscle I can put on and what I can do at the Olympia in 25 if I do it next year. Do you think that's something that's in his head now, or do you think he's just kind of teasing us a little bit and he just wants to just end his career with an Open, victory or an Open, competition?
There may be something there. You might be onto something because, keep in mind he's training to present the best classic look that he can present. So we don't know if that's the best that he has to offer. In other words, has been training to win a show with a certain look.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the freedom to train for a show just to get bigger and still maintain the lines that he has. It's a whole different, animal. So it could come out looking even more impressive than that prepping for an open show than a classic show.
True. That's a good point. Good point. Anyway, I wanted to bring up next story is I love the super freaks, Chris. This guy is Bulat Sologub. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, from Russia. Was trying to get his pro card at the Monsterzyme show in Korea this past weekend. Not only did he win the amateur show and get his pro card, he jumped into the pro show the same day and won it in the 212 division, and he's going to the Olympia in 2025. Pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me, right?
Cannonball shoulders, arms, great conditioning, great quads. He's really, really good. Really good.
He's big. This guy's really, really big.
He's big, and he has, for that size, he's got a midsection on him that, he'd be dangerous at the Olympia this year.
I was going to say, does his waist look a little on the thicker side? I mean, look, he's going against Keon Pearson, who's got the smallest waist of all time.
Yes and no. Yes, but no, because the shoulders and arms are so big and the quads are impressive. I don't think you really notice it. Does he have like Keon's midsection? No, but he's got shoulders and arms that for days, and he's got quads for days. And so there's, some impressive front shots.
Right.
He's going to be very, very good at the Olympia this year. Next year, 2025.
Yeah. He's like a little Jose. He looks like a Jose Raymond almost, right?
But he's got mass.
Yeah. A lot of mass. We haven't really seen anyone with that kind of mass.
He does have it in the right places because there's other 212 guys who place well with mass, but they have big midsections, and he does not, and they don't have his shoulders and arms.
True. Here we have some posing footage of him. This was before the show. Hold on, let me pull this up.
Yeah, RX.
This was
something like, yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
And that he's not in funny light. If anything, he's not in the best light.
No.
Back too.
No. Yeah, that's not filtered or anything either. You can tell that's
very good
legit.
Very good back lat spread. Extremely, extremely good. I'm
crazy, freaky hamstrings.
He's very thick without looking like overly blocky.
No, yeah. Delts, you're right.
Next year.
Yeah, he's dangerous. He's definitely dangerous. Or I can't remember who said it now, but someone was saying that, a legend too, I'm blocking it out. Someone said that Keon Pearson is the best bodybuilder in the entire bodybuilding world right now. What would you say to that statement? Overall.
He's one of the best for sure. Yeah, he's one of the best for sure.
I think he is. I think, we always say, how they say in boxing, pound for pound. Who's the best pound per pound fighter? This guy's unbelievable. I mean, the proportion on this guy, right?
Yeah, the proportion. It's the proportion that magnifies his condition is great now.
Look at that waist. Who has a waist like that, Chris?
No one.
I mean, how does this guy do in the open?
He would win open pro shows.
When he first started versus
not
now.
One, but you know what I mean? When you go see a pro show and you're like, it's not the greatest pro show. He's super, super, super complete, and he's in great condition, and he flows probably better than. See, I'm destroying now I'm saying, he's one of. He just.
I never thought he would get into this kind of shape. I knew he was capable of it, but this is the best condition we've ever seen him in, bar none. He has no weaknesses.
Well, that's he's never had weaknesses, but now you get to see all the strengths because he's in like prime condition.
Well, his conditioning was his weakness before this.
Yeah, that was weakness, but he was still impressive.
I know. But now, I mean,
he won the Olympia. To his credit, he won the Olympia in good condition. So he came in, not only a little bit bigger this year, but just up this condition game. So, he came back and slammed the door shut like the minute he came out.
oh yeah, I mean it was insane. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the Olympia stage. I mean, look, if this guy was a little taller, he'd be the open Olympia.
I don't
champ,
think,
as far as I'm concerned.
because of his shape, I don't think the height plays against him one bit. I don't think the height plays against him one bit. Remember, Dave, in this sport right now, Hadi Chupin, Derek Lunsford.
Does this beat Hadi Chupin?
No, but
Why? Why not?
My point is because Hadi still has more density, maturity, and technically more. He'd do well in that lineup, but no, Hadi's still got more. Like it looks like years under his belt training than Keon. Keon has great condition here. There's still room for like muscle maturity. You're being bamboozled. You're being bamboozled with the superb condition. Hadi has superb condition with more density.
Do you remember when Wheeler turned pro?
Yep, that's USA? How he. Yes,
he was like 218, right? At 5'11", whatever he is. And this Keon's what 5'4" here?
Yeah.
On a lucky day, he's 200 pounds, Chris.
Yeah.
Wheeler won the Arnold Classic the next year, if you remember.
He's phenomenal. The back double is phenomenal.
Probably 218 also. He's probably 220 maybe at the Arnold.
He's got the best looking shots in the sport, that's for sure. Like his back double is the best overall looking. The way everything ties together, the hamstrings, the lower back, the shoulders, arms. It might not be the absolute biggest or the absolute hardest back double, but the way it's put together, it's without a doubt best looking back and the back lat spread.
Would you recommend he stay in the 212 division or move up?
He'll probably, win it again and think about moving up.
What does he have to weigh, you think, to be a challenge for the Open Olympia title?
Not much more.
Yeah, probably like 207.
Right? Not much more. Not too much more, No,
you don't want to ruin that waistline. That waistline is incredible.
Waistline, because the proportions are cartoonish but they're set up by the waistline.
Yes, 100%.
When he was winning, like, I don't know what, classic shows way back, people would say his weight, and you'd be like, you're out of your mind. You can't weigh that little, because he looked huge in his own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I forget what the weight was, but he's like 203 here, I guess. And so he's 10 pounds away from the 212 cap and 9 pounds. And when he was, I don't know what he was when he was, winning or second place at the New York Pro, but he looked very big there. And people would throw out the weight and I'd be like, hey, there's no way he's that light.
You got to remember, he was Chris. He was natural up until recently.
I know he was.
That's why he's exploding the way he is now.
Well, it goes to back to the point that there's no negative to taking your time.
No,
because
and like you said, if he puts on too much muscle, he'll ruin that physique.
Yeah. There's nothing like building at least a good foundation.
Yeah. I don't think he really needs to add that much. Like you said, I think he maybe a couple pounds here and there. But
no.
I would win one more 212 Olympia because let's face it, he's got to move up. I think he should try to at least get to the limit of 212 first.
Well, Dave, you'll know this year. At the end of the day, you'll know this 2025 because if he comes in 2 or 3 pounds bigger and eviscerates the class,
yeah,
and he says, "Oh, I'm only 206 or whatever it may be, whatever the number is."
Yeah.
And we comment that he looks a lot bigger than last year, 2024. Then you'll know it's time to move up, because it goes right back to Dave. Money. I mean, why would you?
I was just gonna say that. He's
Why
be
would you-
crazy to turn the money down. Yeah.
When they're starting to have these shows. I mean, Pittsburgh's given out 100. Could he win that show? Probably. Depends on who.
Probably can. Yeah.
Might be a good move for him.
Yeah, do one open show. He's already qualified for the Olympia, so I mean, he doesn't need to do another 212.
So I mean,
it's a very good idea.
Adding Chris and Derek, they came through 212, and we've said it ad nauseum a million times. William Bonac was 212. I mean, there's people who are in the open who do really well, who came through the 212. Right?
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. I think it would be a great idea for him to hit an open show and see how he stacks up against some of these guys at New York.
I got news for you. Dave, whose back doubles better, his or Chris Bumstead's?
His.
Oh, not even close. And we're talking about him, about Chris winning Prague, or people talk about Chris winning Romania, whatever show he's doing. Pick another shot. So that's one shot. It's impossible that he would lose to Chris.
Keon should have jumped into Prague too. Then we really would have got that.
Who wins the front double? Keon or Bumstead?
That's too. I think he does too. To be honest with you.
Agree.
I would love to see him up there on that stage in Prague. I mean, I'm sure he's eating his ass off now, so he's probably too late. But you know what? Like you said, he's young. Let him do one more year, win the 212 again, and then he'd be crazy to turn down all the money that's available now. Between the Arnold giving away $500,000, could be a higher next year. The Olympia gives $600,000. You got Bader giving away $100,000. I heard he's going to give away $500,000 this coming year for first place in Dubai, and then you got Mannion giving away all that money in Pittsburgh for his first year open.
Classic is like $20 million, I heard, for the first prize. Species Nutrition is sponsoring it.
There you go. That's right. All right. Final story of the day.
Dave, how much food could Nasser eat out of that buffet where you staying? They'd kick him out.
Nasser, look, I've eaten with Nasser. He'd eat the macaroni and cheese on there. He's the worst eater of all time. He does not like food. He would eat 40 desserts off the buffet there that they had, and he would have like I said, macaroni and cheese and one little piece of chicken, just to say he ate some protein. He's the worst eater. I've gone out to eat with him. He doesn't. He's a weird eater. He likes a lot of pasta and carbs and stuff like that. I think he was a sushi eater though. He might have liked the sushi on Saturday though. He might have eaten some of that. But he used to tell me he was the only bodybuilder I ever spoke to, seriously, who carved up on pasta. Oh yes, I eat. I don't eat a lot. I eat about a quarter of a pound of some pasta. I find it carved well with me. Sits nice in my stomach. Chad Nicholas tells me I'm crazy, but I know my body. I have to eat some pasta at least once a day in the last 4 to 5 weeks because, yes, my blood sugar does not go up and down. It is lower glycemic than the rice, and I'm sick of eating rice already. I'm Middle Eastern. I eat too much rice, and it's coming out to my nose, and so I switch to some pasta. I said, Nasser, what do you put on the pasta? Oh, I put some sauce, but very small amount, just to make it moist, and it gives it good taste. I said, yeah, but no one eats that stuff before a show. Yes, but I know my body. I tell Chad, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I need. If I don't do this, then I come in too flat. And then the judges, they tell me, Nasser, you're too flat and you're not round. So I say, listen, Chad, I need to eat pasta once a day, and it is not bad for me because I do not do it in excess. And he'll go on and on and on. You can't get a word in once he goes on one of his tirades. So
it's not a tirade, it's a declaration, it's a speech.
So I'm on the airplane. I'm getting on board with
Dave, he's the Egyptian version of Kai on speeches.
Well, yes, it's I'm getting on the plane with this Egyptian guy in Miami. I'm boarding the plane, and he's like, oh, he goes, where are you going? He said, what are you doing? Are you staying in Qatar? I said, yes. I said, yeah, I'm going there. I own a business. I said, I have a bodybuilding supplement line. Oh, he goes, do you know Big Ramy? I said, well, of course I know Big Ramy. I said, how do you know Big Ramy? He goes, I am Egyptian. I said, of course. I hear the Egyptian dialect, I tell him. He starts laughing. He's like, will Big Ramy make a comeback? I said, you tell me, you're Egyptian.
Yeah, you should know.
I just want to get a ride on one of his fishing boats. I said, I can care less if you haven't competed yet. So he was laughing. It's pretty funny. All right, last story here. Nick Walker, don't call it a comeback. He says that he is not making a comeback. It's not a comeback. He said, I just had crap in the way, but that's life. Not everything is going to go your way. It's not who you are in the moment. When things go wrong, what defines you is how you go about it when it's over. I'm going to do what I always do and work my ass off. So how do you interpret that?
Well, it is what it is, but people want to see him fail. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's
He's supposed to be announcing his new prep coach. I'm assuming it's not you, right?
What's that?
He's supposed to be announcing his new prep coach this week. I am assuming it's not you. Is that correct?
It's not me. My point is I agree with what he had to say. I said the problem is not his problem. It's just the idea is that people want to see him fail anyway. That's the way people are.
Yeah. You know what it is, Chris? He's a perfectionist.
Huh?
He's a perfectionist, which as he should be. And whatever him and his coach, Matt tried this time didn't work. We could speculate from now until the end of time. Whatever they did didn't work. He got rid of him. He's getting a new coach. And I'm sure he's such a proud guy that he felt embarrassed by how he looked. And that's why he dropped out of the show. Now, should he have been allowed to? Was it the right decision? I guess it was the right decision for him. Some other people would have just sucked it up and done the show anyway, just because the fans expected it. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day at this point because they allowed him to drop out. So no one fined him or penalized him. So he took the out. I don't think he wanted to miss the show. I think he wanted to be there more than anything in the world. This is his life. It's his passion. I just think that whatever that he did went so wrong that he was so embarrassed by the way he looked that he didn't want to display it on stage. And it was probably very hard for him to drop out of this show because, like I said, he missed the year before that because he had the hamstring injury. So 2 years in a row, that's a big pill to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You move on.
So the question is, what show will he do? Because he obviously has to qualify.
Probably, maybe Pittsburgh.
That would I was going to say to hit like maybe the double Pittsburgh and New York, or something like that.
Those two shows back to back. They're
back to back. I mean, you got to be crazy as a competitor not to hit both of those, right? I mean, why not?
Totally. If you're going to do one, you do them both.
A week apart, if you could win both shows, that's a nice paycheck. That's $100 from Mannion's. I don't know what Steve's is going to be. Steve's was $30,000 last year, which is a lot too.
Yeah,
could be up to 50 this year for all we know. I know Steve wants to make it $100,000 eventually. If he gets the sponsors behind it. So I would like to see Nick do both. Now the question is who's going to go against him at that show. I have a feeling we're going to see some stiff competition in Pittsburgh and New York this year, especially with the Pittsburgh announcement of $100,000 for first place.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be great shows. I mean, they were a great show. New York was a great show last year with Nick and so
right.
It's going to be
now. I think we probably won't see Martin do New York again. I think he's trying to requalify early here in Prague and then probably shut it down to the Olympia because this is a guy who obviously now after placing fourth, he's starting to smell the blood, I think. And he's like, hey, maybe I can win this thing,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good move to try to, get the qualification. Nothing's better than to get the qualification.
Yeah. We lost Chris. How about that? I thought I was having phone issues. I'm the one in Qatar. we'll get Chris back here to wrap this thing up. Obviously, I will be heading back to Florida Monday morning. I have to be up at about 4:30 in the morning. I'm getting picked up at 5:15, 5:30, and I'll head to Qatar Airport in Doha here and board my plane for my 14-hour trip all the way back to Florida. And then when I land in Florida, I first have to then drive 3 hours from Miami back to Cape Coral, because one thing you never want to do when you take a long flight, you never want to have to connect, because if you miss that connection, and then you miss the big flight, you're done. So I would rather sit in a car for 3 hours than sit in an airport twiddling my thumbs waiting on a connecting flight. It's just not worth it. I highly recommend, if you ever have to go any place very far, find an airport. If you can drive to an airport, it doesn't even matter how far it is. You're better off. At least you're in the comfort of your own car, and I think that's what's most important. But all right, I think I'm going to wrap the show up, because I don't know what happened to Chris. And as you guys know, every week we say the same thing for the last 15 years we've been doing this show, right? And I always have Chris answering my question, but he's not here now, so I'm going to do it all together. As we say every week, with Heavy Muscle Radio, the truth hurts. Sure does. Wish me a safe flight. I'll see you guys next week.